Listen.
Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat, episode 443. We have a wonderful show for you this week. I'm your host, Per Schneider, and I have some incredible people with me. To my right, I have Zach Ryan, the Zach Ryan.
It's true, I'm the only one.
Brian Altano to my left.
Hi.
And special guest, because Casey DeFreitas is snowed in and can't be found, Joe Scrabbles from our UK team.
Flown in specially.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, now wait a minute. She can be found. She's fine. She's just snowed in a cabin. She'll be all right.
She's snowed in. She's still filing articles, but she obviously can't be here in the studio, which
cabin
sucks
that can't be found.
because we have some good stuff to talk about, including a mystery game that Nintendo is working on, and we'll speculate about what that could be. We're also going to talk about whether Nintendo will ever count to 9. You'll get a little bit more information on that one. And, there's a whole bunch of news, so why don't we jump right in. Joe Scrabbles, if you don't know him, is actually our deputy news editor in the UK. Is that right?
Just deputy editor now.
Deputy editor.
The news is gone.
So you came from the news side. Now you handle everything.
Yeah.
Well, then host this damn show, man.
All right.
Yeah, let's take over.
Joe, you have a sort of a long history with Nintendo as well.
I do.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Nintendo history?
My first job in the industry was Official Nintendo Magazine in the UK.
Oh, man.
R.I.P. And then I just like them now.
Yeah?
That's basically the deal.
Yeah?
I enjoyed Wii U. That was a thing in my life for my sins. And
Do you still have it?
yeah, it's plugged in.
So a friend...
Really? Yeah, sometimes
wow.
I play Wonderful 101.
A friend of the show, Craig Harris, whom I met over lunch today, told me that the Wii U is becoming quite the hot commodity on eBay.
Yeah, you can, boxed ones are going for like $1,000 or something.
And that is because, obviously, the system is not being manufactured anymore. Unlike the, they're still making PlayStation 3s, I think, or about winding it down now,
Something
right?
like that.
But, the Wii U is not being made anymore. So if you don't have one and you want a collectible... Please don't buy it for $1,000. Don't be an idiot. Seriously.
Yeah,
all
buy
those
one
games
used.
are coming
That's
to
crazy.
Switch. Just go with the Switch.
I have a hard drive with just loads and loads of Wii U games that haven't come out on any other systems. And I am absolutely sure
You got to
one day
keep that stuff.
it's going to go in a museum.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing that will not be coming to the Nintendo Switch anytime soon, though, is Dr. Mario World. So jumping right into the news.
That's not the name of that game?
Yeah.
Is it Dr. Mario World?
Yeah, that's right.
Huh? Wonderful.
Yeah. So Nintendo is working on a mobile spin-off of Dr. Mario, which probably will be exactly like Dr. Mario, for iOS and Android. This is not the mobile game that you're seeing if you're watching this show.
That's just Dr. Mario.
If you're listening to this show on iTunes, you will not be seeing anything. But obviously, Dr. Mario, I'm a big fan. I've played way too many hours of the vastly superior 64 edition that also came to GameCube. But just a brief history. This game came out in '94, pretty late on the NES. Actually, in 1990 on the NES and the Game Boy, and then we saw it as Tetris and Dr. Mario on the Super NES in '94. We even saw it for the Satellaview, the Dr. Mario BS. I always love that. That's broadcast satellite in Japan, where the game was actually streamed to you through a satellite dish. I never got to play that one. There was 4-player Dr. Mario 64.
Yep.
And then my favorite was, do you guys remember the GameCube preview disc?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you could do with that thing?
Not in this.
Not in Dr. Mario context,
So you connected a GBA, a Game Boy Advance, with a link cable, and you could download Dr. Mario to your memory on your GBA through the GameCube.
Oh, right.
And play that game. And then if you turned off your GBA,
It was gone.
I had no idea that you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The preview disc was cool.
Nintendo Voice Chat. Just teaching you stuff every week.
So are you guys going to play it on mobile?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Per, I'm a little disappointed that you neglected to mention the other doctors, Dr. Wario and Dr. Luigi, who also somehow got their own modes or entire spin-off games, which is just ridiculous.
That's true.
This game also was a mini-game in, I believe, Brain Age, where it had touch controls. So that's probably what we're going to see something similar to on the mobile version itself, because obviously in lieu of having legitimate actual controls, you'll be clicking and dragging pills around your screen to cure the man's body, I believe this game takes place in. We've never really figured that out.
And if
This is actually a prequel to Osmosis Jones.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
If you've never played Dr. Mario, the music will absolutely stick with you.
Chill.
Actually, you're all playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So you know the music. It's in there. It's already in your brain. But, this is just showing that Nintendo is expanding, obviously, bringing more franchises to mobile. Mario Kart Tour, which we'll talk a little bit more about that topic later, obviously got delayed. So, this is a game that's going to come in in the summer, and they're working with mobile developer Line on this.
Yeah,
now,
so this isn't their DNA part.
No, this is, and Line makes over $1 billion with Disney on puzzle games. They're a puzzle game expert. Right. So this is the right company to pick if you want to make a lot of dough.
What do you think?
I was going to say, does World imply that it's like an online game or leaderboards or something?
I would assume so, yeah.
Or you think Dr. Mario is visiting sick people all over the planet?
That is very likely. Thank you for that, Brian.
Anytime.
Let's talk about
the insight.
I just want to say, like, I think that of all of the Nintendo mobile ventures thus far, this one lends itself the best to mobile. I think it seems to make the most sense to me as a mobile game. Like this one was like, oh, when they announced it, like kind of a no-brainer to me.
So I have anecdotal data that is very popular with female players, and that's all 3 generations of women in my household played this game against me in the past. That's my wife's mom, my daughter, and me, 4-player Dr. Mario, and everybody loved this game.
This is also one of my wife's favorite video games.
Also, doesn't your daughter love Dr. Mario?
She does. Yes, she's 8 months old, and we just put it on and leave for days at a time.
So, Mark, if the microtransactions are obviously this game is going to be free to play with microtransactions, but I have a feeling this is going to make a lot of dough.
They'll sell pills.
That's right.
I bet you can't
buy
say
every pill.
I bet you can't say anecdotal data 5 times fast.
I cannot. I can barely speak English. Thank you.
This is also great for Nintendo because when you open up the App Store, you can type in Mario, and now multiple search results pop.
That's true.
Including Mario Sisters, which will be there for a week until it gets pulled down.
Yeah. And Louis the Leprechaun or whatever. All the other
Mario Brothers. Yeah.
Super Marlo, all the bootleg garbage.
Super Marlo.
That's right.
All right. Next news item is Wargroove is hot.
Yep.
You guys, I was out last week and Joe was not here. But you guys talked about Wargroove.
We did.
And you liked the game?
I do. Like since last week I've started playing it a bit, and it's to call it a love letter to an Advance Wars or like an homage is a bit of an understatement. It is very close, very Advance Wars-y, and I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Has some unique elements though, like the the villages have health and that you can use to heal your units. That's a new twist that we haven't seen before.
We were saying it last week that it almost feels like a game that was built by like scorned ex-Advance Wars developers in the same way something like, I don't know, the Igarashi Castlevania knockoff is going to end up. But this game made all of its development costs back in 3 days.
In 3 days. So
That's
it's been
wild.
sitting
Crazy.
at #1 in the eShop since it came out, which just shows that the audience is starved for a game like this.
This is the mad thing when you look at this game coming out and doing so well. How has Intelligent not? Why they made, what was it, Codename Steam or whatever?
Yes.
Just make Advance Wars again.
Yeah, did not want that.
Yeah. It was so weird.
It was a fine game.
Codename Steam was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
Abraham Lincoln robots.
That's right. That was pretty good.
They could have made 2 Advance Wars games in that time. Anyway, this game is good. There are some little quibbles I have with the controls, with the way you skip cutscenes is a little slow, but it sounds like the developer is listening to that. So they already announced a patch coming that's going to fix some bugs. There's some save bugs that I think you ran into.
I did, yeah. I ran through the tutorial 3 times, and I didn't know. I was just stuck in this weird loop.
Huh. How strange.
So they'll let you skip the battles faster, which was Tom Marks's one of his complaints. Force faster map movement, where you don't have to hold the button and accidentally trigger one of the units. More tool tips. They're going to tell you the S rank requirements. By the way, it's based on the number of turns. You just always want to go for the boss super fast if you want to get that S rank and not kill every unit. And then they'll make it more difficult to accidentally end a turn, which I have done a couple of times too. So
it's a lot of quality of life stuff. I have a feeling that we're going to find out that this game is selling best on Switch.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's pretty much a no-brainer, which is still really cool to see.
Yeah. Please, if you've hesitated to pick up a Fire Emblem game, play this. It looks obviously more like a Fire Emblem with a fantasy setting, but it doesn't have that super hardcore element of losing units for good. Yet, like, you can make new units, so it's a little bit more casual.
And Tom's one of Tom's things that he mentioned last week was the ability to. The minutia behind the difficulty, the way that you can bump down the difficulty by 3% if you need to.
Yep.
And like that's something like as a guy that is not super into strategy games, I'm sure you've heard me say that before.
We've heard
that's really interesting to me because like I can knock this down to 80% if I wanted to and get through some of the stuff that is challenging me. I'm really enjoying this game. I'm really stoked that it's out. So
Yeah.
I also cannot wait to see the user-made maps. Like once that community takes off, that's going to be so
and we were talking about it
fast.
last week. Given the mods that are coming to PC and the crossplay, like it's only a matter of time before somebody creates Advance Wars in this game. So I'll play that too.
Yep.
Excellent. There is an update on a game that we haven't talked about in ages that used to also be a top seller and honestly is always hovering in the top 15 in the eShop, and that's Overcooked 2.
Yep.
Everybody here play it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Overcooked 2 got a free content update. All you have to do is start the game; it'll prompt you, or do your little option to update it if it doesn't prompt you. They added in honor of Chinese New Year. Happy Chinese New Year, everybody. They added a new map with 7 levels.
And the dragon that chases you.
2
through the
new
kitchen.
dishes. Of course, when you think of China, you think of fruit platter and hot pot.
Yep.
So
Together
those
at last.
Those 2 dishes are in it. New chefs, a new survival mode, an entirely new mode where a timer runs down. I played a little bit of this. This game is just so much fun.
This looks awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to try this. This is like one of my go-to sort of recommendations for people to play local co-op on Switch. I think it just totally nails that platform perfectly. It's just really fun. It's a great excuse to yell at your friends or significant other.
I don't think there's a game that's made me angrier on video than the original Overcooked. Like, there is a video of us in the
That
UK
video
office.
is amazing.
I lose it in that video, and we had to actually have words afterwards.
Really?
Like, it was just like
You weren't acting?
I'm so
No.
stressed.
You weren't
Like,
acting?
No, I find it incredibly stressful, that game. I love it. It's amazing, but I have damaged friendships.
Would you ever get a real life kitchen job like that?
Absolutely. I would go to
I played with my kids and they got into a fight. They stopped playing. Like one person walked out the room, the other one went to mom, and it can really ruin friendships.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you find the right partner, you kind of get into this vibe where you really kind of switch off the tasks, and it can be really like just fun and relaxing too.
I think it's like
Until something happens.
The dishwashing element is what always throws me off, because every time I'm like, chopping is fun and cooking is fun and all that stuff, and then like in the corner there's always just this disgusting pile of dishes that someone has to do, and it's a stark
Wash
reminder
them.
that there is a lot of elements to cooking that just sucks.
Yep.
So that's there too.
Next is a story that you actually reported on. So I would love to hear your feedback on that, Joe. That was a news story that was the headline on every website. Xbox Live on Switch?
Yeah.
Question mark, to which I say not so fast.
Yeah, it's definitely not coming to
So
Switch.
tell us
in a
about
way.
this. Do you want to read the statement from the GDC conference schedule where it was accidentally leaked?
Yeah.
GDC is the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco that happens in March.
So it said, Xbox Live is about to get much bigger, much in all caps. Xbox Live is expanding from 400 million gaming devices and a reach to over 68 million active players to over 2 billion devices with the release of our new cross-platform XDK. Get a first look at the SDK to enable game developers to connect players between iOS, Android, and Switch, in addition to Xbox and any game in the Microsoft Store on Windows PCs.
What the hell does that mean, Joe?
What a great buzzword! 2 billion devices.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, so essentially, there's a wider kind of bit of text that went out, and it indicates that things like friends lists and achievements and that sort of base level meat and potato stuff is going to be sort of integrated into Switch in some way. They haven't said what that means. Maybe that's an app. Maybe that's just like architecture that would allow it to happen.
I love that you call that base level meat and potatoes coming to a platform that has basically none of those things.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's still, we don't know if Nintendo wants that, right? This is an SDK for developers to use.
Yes.
And we'll talk about another SDK after this as well. But so this is the option. Obviously, already there's some hooks in some games with Xbox Live.
So you can sign into your Xbox Live profile on Minecraft, for example, or you can cross-play between Fortnite. So this is like, speculatively, maybe this would allow you to earn Xbox achievements while playing Warframe on Switch. Something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we're going to get a storefront. It doesn't mean we're going to get Xbox games on Switch. But it could be, and this is like the speculative thing that we wrote about, it could be setting up a base level for potentially getting Project xCloud, which is Xbox's big streaming initiative, which they've tested on phones and tablets onto Switch. I know like Switch and Xbox have had a little love in recently. I'm not sure how willing Nintendo would be for you to turn on Project xCloud and like play Forza on your Switch. that would be kind of cool.
I would like that.
But yeah, it's more interesting for what it could be than what it is.
Sure.
Is basically the takeaway.
But never say never, right? Microsoft has been very vocal about servicing 2 platforms at once, right? You can buy an Xbox One game and get the PC edition for free now when you buy their first-party games. And it's with all these big companies, and there are more, right? There's obviously NVIDIA, there's Google, all these different companies working on streaming platforms. Nintendo has one they're testing in Japan. We might get to a point where you will be able to truly cross-play games through these streaming services.
Well, Phil Spencer keeps saying the future of Xbox is on every device, which sounds like something a
All 2
dystopian
billion
leader
of
would
them.
say.
This is every device.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I mean, very, very pointedly, there's no Sony on that list, but
Right.
yeah. But it is interesting. Like I'd be super interested to see what Nintendo's reaction to that would be. I would love to hear it.
I'd be amazed to see this get to the system before something like Netflix does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many like just go-to apps that still aren't there yet, and just having this like having an Xbox Live icon on Switch before Netflix is crazy to me.
But again, yeah, like you said, the online service is so underserved.
Right.
I would just love the idea to have my friends list on Xbox appear
Yeah.
on here, and I could find my friends on there
Yeah.
in game. Because I mean, I don't use that on Xbox because I don't turn on my Xbox. I use my Switch loads. So let's take the best bits of Xbox's services and stick them on Switch. I'm up for that. That'd be
Imagine
great.
you start matchmaking with people over Xbox Live to play Switch games.
Yeah. Oh,
God.
that'd be great.
They did. I mean, look, the Xbox 360 and really perfected online play and wrote the book on how you handle online on consoles.
Yeah.
Right, that machine was so good.
And yet, 10 years later, Nintendo still haven't copied it.
It's
So weird.
pretty crazy, and it's fair to say that Sony did a lot of catching up with a
Yeah.
PlayStation tool set. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go.
There's that weird, like, sort of interesting crossover stuff that happens between these 2 companies, even in terms of IPs.
Yeah, like Mario and Minecraft.
Yeah,
Things like
and,
that.
and like Banjo-Kazooie, like having an idle animation of pulling out a Game Boy and stuff, or Conker doing the same thing. And when Rare Replay came out a couple years ago, which I, by the way, would love to see on Switch, it basically omitted anything that was really like effectively connected to Nintendo.
Yep.
And so we got this kind of half-ass version of that collection. Not half-ass, had a lot of great stuff. But I would love to see those worlds come together and then be like, here's Rare Replay Nintendo Edition.
Was GoldenEye
No.
in Rare Replay? It
No,
was not.
GoldenEye,
That's a licensing thing.
Yeah.
GoldenEye, like, if we want to go through it real quick, is basically owned, what is it? It's like Activision, Nintendo, Rare, Xbox, and Sony.
Yeah.
Like, Sony owns the Bond license, but then other people own Rare owns the levels. It's so
In the
crazy.
music, there's Danjak, MGM. There's the music license
Yep.
holder. There's actually a separate license holder just for the music, right? Which, if you go back, Never Say Never Again didn't have that movie.
Yeah.
The Sony spin.
No, to relaunch that 007 for
Crazy stuff.
64, like in HD, you would basically have to get like a conference of teams together to sit down around a campfire and sort it out.
But it is possible. We've seen a remake of GoldenEye in the past.
Yes,
that
that's
was
true.
able to pull together all these pieces.
It wasn't very good,
If
though.
you want anecdotal
all
evidence of where that is at the moment, a friend of mine relatively recently, went to Rare's campus, which is in the countryside in the UK, and they have a big shed out back, and that's where all the GoldenEye memorabilia was. Like, there's none
Just
of it
all of
in
it is
the
out,
place.
yeah.
It's in a shed out back.
That's wild.
All right, one more SDK story. I know SDK stories don't sound that exciting, but this one I think
What does
our
SDK
listeners,
stand for?
It's a development kit.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So it's basically a tool set for developers that they can utilize in their games. In this case, the SDK is for voice chat, which I know a lot of people are passionate about. And so this company, Vivox, which was just acquired by Unity, that's a middleware company. They make the engine that a lot of Switch indie games actually run on. They announced that they're releasing a development kit to add text and voice chat to Switch games. So you've already used this tool set, by the way, because that's what Fortnite runs on. So you already have seen the chat service. So now it will be true middleware that any developer can pay to use. And doesn't have to rely on Nintendo's kludgy mobile app, whatever device service.
Squid.
And already, Hi-Res Studios is going to use this for Smite and Paladins coming up. So this is a good thing.
It's so weird that
Right?
there are companies who are being able, they've had enough time to go, we can just make this better for Switch.
Right. They're working around the system strategically to deliver something that's better.
As someone with no development knowledge, I'm amazed that they're even allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Nintendo make it seem like it's impossible architecturally, but then it keeps popping up.
Nintendo's the same company that in the 80s and 90s was like, if you want to put a game on a cartridge, you have to buy them through us. You know, we're going to mark them up. So they're very into their own proprietary format. So this is cool that people are finding a way around that.
Yep. If you go back in history and look up some old NVC episodes, we had Todd Northcutt on at one point, former IGN Entertainment employee who worked on the GameSpy service that Nintendo used for the Wii. And he told a story on our episode how they built a voice chat service for the Wii, pitched it to Nintendo, and they said, no.
That was like seriously like
That's so
go
crazy.
find that episode. That is one of my favorite NVC. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Like just those old stories
It's just-
of Nintendo being like, let's go online.
Yeah. And, you know, this show is called Nintendo Voice Chat.
Yep.
For a reason. We were being snarky when we named it.
Even back to the GameCube, remember fans put together that thing called Warp Pipe, which allowed them to
that's
like
right.
they basically did a DIY of their own online.
Yeah.
It's mad.
So I got a quick, just to round out the news segment, 3 quick announcement stories that are kind of smaller, but I would like Nintendo fans and Switch fans to know about. One is Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution was announced by Konami in Japan only. So this is based on the card game. If you're into Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games, you'll get a version on the Switch. No word yet on the US release, and we haven't seen anything on it. Just know that it uses the Master Rules setup, whatever that means. Doom and Destiny, the Flying Spaghetti Fantasy Adventure from Heartbit.
Finally.
Is also coming, so don't scoff at it, because when you see this game, you're going to say you want to play it.
It's either the worst or the best SEO title of all
Right?
time.
Yeah.
Like, it's either getting buried or appearing twice as much.
So this game has been out for a couple of years on Steam. I think it came out in like 2014 or something. When you see it running, it looks like Final Fantasy. So classic 2D overhead view, and they even like design elements from Mario games you can spot in the backgrounds at some point.
It's cool.
What will fans of the games Doom and Destiny think of this title?
Well, it's both in one.
Okay.
But no, it's not
good
at
deal.
all like Doom and Destiny, but it is Doom and Destiny trademark.
Excellent.
What's a flying spaghetti fantasy?
Brian?
I think that's basically when you go to bed and you think of Italian food and then you wake up and it's there. It's like a night chef.
Has that happened?
Yeah.
If
A
that
night
happens
chef.
to you, run.
Why?
Because your house is trying to
I would
kill
love
you.
for a night chef to come into my house as I sleep and whip up a good pasta
Right?
for me. That sounds
You wake
wonderful.
up in the middle of the night, you're like,
So
Is that fresh tomatoes?
perfect.
very nice. So finally, there's a little stealth story. You know data miners?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Beware the data miners. Data miners in the past uncovered news of Paladins and Smite coming to the Switch. So of course they would uncover some light proof that Realm Royale from Hi-Res is also coming across. They actually found reference to a Nintendo version in the code of the other games. And so, if you're a fan of Realm Royale, hold on to your bucks until this version comes out.
Hold on to your bucks.
I know you're very excited.
About Realm Royale?
Yeah.
Oh,
How many
yes.
Battle Royales are there on Switch?
Well, there will soon be one more.
Like, it feels like there aren't many, so it's probably a good move.
Yeah,
No,
there's
we're
a hell of a
missing-
ton.
No, we're missing Apex Legends, obviously PUBG, Blackout. The big ones outside of Fortnite are not there, so it's probably smart they're bringing this over.
Perry, I forgot to throw in here real quick. PSA: in the middle of the month, Nintendo on NES Online is dropping Super Mario Brothers 2 and Kirby Adventure.
That's right. I actually was gonna start the show off with an apology to our listeners that in the time that it took us to record this show, multiple news items have been announced that you are,
As usual.
As is
you are
the way
probably
with
expecting
Nintendo
us to
Voice
talk
Chat,
about,
yeah.
and that one just broke before the show. Thank you so much.
Of course.
So we'll get Kirby and we'll get
Mario 2, which I love.
Super Mario
2,
Brothers
which-
2 is my favorite NES Mario.
But
That's a
game.
really good game.
Okay, that's not Super Mario Brothers USA. That's
No,
the
that's-
Lost
It's
Levels.
it's the weird one where you throw vegetables.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it
not
is
the
that
Lost
better.
Levels. It's Super Mario Brothers 2.
It's the US Super Mario
Yes.
Brothers.
And then also in traditional fashion, Japan's getting a third game, which is this exclusive sumo game that I've never played or heard of before. So
they keep on getting 3 games,
Yeah.
and we keep on getting 2.
I know.
I would prefer to get the sumo game I've never heard
Me
of.
too.
Because I'd want to play something that
Just let us
never happened.
Let us
Right.
figure out the Japanese. We'll be able to do it. Just come on, Nintendo. Give
Some of us
those.
will.
Yeah. Maybe there's a licensing entanglement that these sumo wrestlers are, licensed by another company in the US. Who knows?
Possibly.
I'm just talking. So for our next topic, I wanted to talk about a little news story that was hidden in Nintendo's financial results. You know, as part of the financials, which you guys went over, I'm sure, at length last time?
A bit, yeah. We talked a bit, yeah.
Nintendo says it's preparing, quote, translation, at least one title in fiscal year 19. So that's April to April. Nintendo's year starts in April. That should please fans. That was my translation of what they said. What do you think that will be? And guys, what pleases you?
Yikes.
So this is an unannounced
game for Nintendo Switch that should please fans.
What?
I would hope that would be the motive for all of their games.
Yeah.
But look, if
We're
they
working on
announce
one specially that you're going to
But
like.
if they announced Wii Fit or something, that should not pleaseth fans,
It might please the fans.
Yeah?
It might, I mean, there's some people that like getting called fat by a video game.
Yeah. Oh, when you step on it.
I'll never forget that. And my meat just went like, boom. And I was like,
Oh,
oh
no.
God, I got to fix this.
I mean, is this the weird rumored Star Fox game from Rare? Or what do you think is going to... I mean, it sounds like if it pleases fans, it's not just going to be like Dr. Luigi or something, right? It's got to be something bigger, no?
But it also feels like that's quite soon.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like it's going to be anything. To me, that strikes me as like Wii U port.
Well, that's
Yes.
from this coming April to next April. So that's probably this year something big.
So the fact that they've already got release dates or release windows for Yoshi, Fire Emblem, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, plus a couple of new IP,
Daemon X Machina.
like it leads me to sort of wonder what they could possibly have in their back pocket that's not a Mario and Zelda. So if that's the case, if they're looking at a new release that pleases fans, my money is on, like Joe said, like a Wii U port, and if or maybe even the oft-rumored Metroid Prime trilogy, which I would gladly take. But I don't know. Maybe we're looking at a
both.
I would love a B-sides to Super Mario Odyssey, like they did for like Galaxy 2 was a lot more of Galaxy. Like I'd love to see something similar for Odyssey.
Just some Kingdoms DLC. I would like an expansion pack.
If they-
I'm amazed that never happened.
New Super Luigi U.
So I actually think this is a new title, and I do think in addition to that, we'll see a bunch of Wii U re-releases. Like I pulled the list of games that haven't been ported from the Wii U over, and at the top, like they ported obviously some of the top sellers, and they have sequels to Mario Party and Super Smash Brothers. They basically already ported or sequeled 6 of the top 10 sellers on Wii U, and some of the games on Switch of course, already outsold the original Wii U versions, including Mario Kart. But the top-selling Wii U games that they haven't been ported, 3D World, which sold 5.8 million on the Wii U.
Very good.
Nintendo Land, which
Also good.
sold 5.19 million. Super Mario Maker with 4 million. Wind Waker HD with 2.28 million. And then obviously there was NES Remix, Pikmin 3, Twilight Princess HD, a whole bunch of other games.
NES
Wonderful
Remix,
101.
Oh,
So NES Remix and Pikmin 3 are like two of the ones that no one talks about when we talk about.
Pikmin is going to come to this.
I was going to say, what if it's, I mean, Miyamoto said Pikmin 4 was way far along in development 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what if this game, the game that's supposed to please the fans was just Pikmin 4?
That'd be great.
Was that separate to the weird side-scrolling Pikmin that he was talking about?
Well,
I thought it was.
That wasn't a numbered Pikmin. That wasn't Pikmin
Did he
4.
say Pikmin 4? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
we will never know. Like I've read all the articles, and you just couldn't tell sometimes. But obviously, I mean, he loves that franchise.
Yes.
I do think Pikmin 3 is going to come across.
I'd love for
and
that
I actually
to be the
think
case.
every game on this list is going to come across. And I'm curious about. I mean, Wii Sports was a phenomenon, and Wii Sports Resort was a phenomenon with 80 million units sold on the Wii. It seems weird they haven't done Switch Sports or brought something back because they have the freaking Joy-Con.
Would it be weird given that they did Wii Sports Club, which improved loads of those? I think Wii Sports Club Golf is the best sports simulation of all time.
Really?
Genuinely.
Wow.
Nothing else feels like playing golf.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Better than Tiger Woods.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
Like that game's incredible, but you can't recreate that because you don't have the double screen stuff anymore. So that kind
Well,
of
if you buy 2 Switches.
yeah, maybe that's it. That's how they're going to get us.
Yeah.
Nintendo Land's an interesting one because that's so connected to the Wii U hardware
I
and
don't
being
know
a
about
dual screen game. So that'd be really tough. They'd have to retool it, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
That is true. It would be much more difficult to do that, but this is also a handheld. You could have 5 players all with the same screen, right? And gasp, you could play Nintendo Land online. You know, don't scoff at the idea of a game being played online. That's a multiplayer.
Side note, I had completely forgotten about that Pikmin side-scrolling game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, totally forgot about that game.
Everybody did. It was all right.
It was not a very good game.
But I mean, I think all of these Wii U games are going to come across. The fact that we
I would
haven't
love
seen
for Wind
Mario
Waker
Maker
HD to
again
come to
is
Switch.
crazy.
Me too.
But we will see.
Again, get me tough to play that one with that dual screen. That was like such a nice improvement.
Yeah, that was
having
like,
the map and like the
that's
items
true.
and the touchscreen and everything.
You can use the touchscreen on this baby.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, you can create while on the bus, and then you go back and play on the big screen.
That I like.
Yeah, I would like to do all of that.
You're really selling me on this Nintendo Switch thing.
No, but the other big game is obviously Retro hasn't shown a game in a while.
Yeah.
We just learned that they are starting work on Metroid Prime 4, which suggests they weren't just sitting around making barbecue and brisket the whole time, right? Which is one of the few tweets we got out of the Retro account. Thank you so much, guys.
Every time they do that, people are like, Metroid. It's like such a walk.
Yeah, people are like, prime rib? It's like, that's brisket, honey. That is not prime rib. But they obviously were working on something. It's a talented team.
Yeah.
I'm expecting that game to be one of the original games that we'll see this year.
The Star Fox Racing game that we talked about.
We'll see if that's real.
Donkey Kong, their Donkey Kong games are so popular that it really wouldn't surprise me if we got another one of those.
Yeah.
They're good.
I'd take another one of those.
Yeah.
I would not.
I'll take any
we've got
new
a lot.
games that gets me more to play on the Switch this year. Speaking of new game, when you look at the top selling games on the Switch, or the top selling games on the Wii U, or the top selling games on the the N64 and the Super NES, you'll see one title popping up all the time, and that's Mario Kart.
Yep.
And we have a Mario Kart on Switch, and it is the best-selling title on that platform. That's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a remake with the DLC packs and some added stuff like Battle Mode for the Switch. I just, looking at the fact that this is Nintendo's most powerful franchise now, I got to ask you guys the question, where's Mario Kart 9?
Aren't they just letting Mario Kart 8 stew and keep getting people to buy it? Isn't it something ridiculous, like a 30 or 40% attach?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was like 42%.
Yeah, we talked about it last. Yeah, we talked about it in the last episode that the attach rate for Mario Kart is the highest attach rate, I think, in terms of like ownership on the Switch. Again, it's sort of like the Zelda conversation we had a couple episodes ago. Like, are there multiple Mario Kart iterations on any generation of Nintendo's hardware, with the exception of maybe the DS and 3DS? Like,
The DS even only has one Mario Kart.
and that's 7?
Yeah,
7.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Well, it's the DS line of devices, sir.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. But I think that in the same way that we only see one Zelda game or like maybe one core Mario game, Mario Kart is a per generation basis. And like if Mario Kart 8 was a stopgap solution to Mario Kart 9, that would be the ideal situation. But I kind of feel like this is our Mario Kart for Switch.
But it isn't the game of this generation. It's the game of the last generation. It came out in 2014.
Yeah, but
this
they
is
put
a
a
game
whole
that
new...
shipped on Wii U in 2014. That's 5 years ago.
They put a whole new
double
mode.
boxes,
Yeah.
No, that is not enough, ladies and gentlemen.
They added Link from
So obviously, this franchise is so big that Nintendo is creating an offshoot for mobile as well.
right.
Don't
Maybe.
you think they'll
We haven't
announce
seen it.
one?
Well, why if Mario Kart 8 is selling so side note, Mario Kart on DS was called Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart 7 was the 3DS one.
That's right.
That had a first person mode
right.
and 3D, which is super weird. 8's the best of all of them, so whatever.
Yeah.
If this is selling so well and they can drop a mobile game that will, keep that conversation going, why even bother making a 9 for 5 years?
Because you will sell to each person you already as 8. What if they did Mario Kart Ultimate? They did literally the Mario Kart game that has every track ever in a Mario Kart game.
I would love that. That would be very good. Every character, every track.
Double dash mechanics.
Ooh. Yeah, baby.
Ooh. Babies.
Babies, yeah.
There's
Them
enough
as well.
babies in these games.
Yeah, we have babies in here, but we
and
don't
like
have...
Rose Gold Peach. They
weird.
gotta if they're gonna do an ultimate, they really have to slim down the character roster here.
I don't think so.
This
Worked for Smash.
I mean, there's like 7 Marios in this game.
Yeah, but there's 900 Marios in Smash Brothers, so
there's no baby Marios in Smash because it'd be weird to beat.
you just haven't unlocked them yet.
So I want to go
year
around.
3.
I want to go around the table and just get your prediction of what year will we hear the Mario Kart 9 announcement. It can be on a future platform, so we'll start with Zach. What
Future
year?
platform, 2022.
Oh my God. I will say 2020 E3, they will announce Mario Kart 9.
That was going to be mine as well. Like, if it's going to
For
happen,
Switch?
Yes.
if it was going to happen, it would happen then to be the big, the big announcement against next gen for the other console makers.
Yep.
2023.
2023. There's no Earth in 2023.
Well,
It's
great.
that's
Finally.
okay. Why so late? Just because 8 is going to keep on selling?
Because 48% of Switch owners own Mario Kart 8. People keep buying it. It is the thing that when you buy a Switch, you buy this game. Over Zelda, over Odyssey, over Splatoon, over everything else. There's no reason to rush out a new thing when this one's selling so well.
What's the longest?
Play that B-roll.
What's the longest?
What's the longest gap between 2 Mario Kart games?
It's impossible to know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You're asking us to remember all the dates right
Yeah, why
now.
not?
Hey,
This is a good question.
people in the comments, can you guys let us know what the longest gap was
Like besides
Mario
now?
Kart
between Mario Kart
Yeah.
games? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be right now.
Probably
yeah,
now,
you're
yeah.
right.
5 years is a long time.
Actually, maybe not because like the lifespan between the Wii U and the Switch is way shorter than the average Nintendo console lifespan because they kind of.
All right. We'll see. Well, there you have it,
course
folks.
correct.
The next Mario Kart game will ship when we're all standing next to a broken down Statue of Liberty. with apes chasing us with nets. So look forward to
we'll
Mario
use
Kart
Mario Kart
9.
to distract the apes.
That's right. Thank you very much. All right. Our next topic is the wonderfully named NVC Plays Games, where we're going to spend a couple of minutes talking about some of the new games that have come out that everybody's playing. I know you guys talked a bunch about Wargroove last week,
We
but
did.
if you've got any more feedback on that, why don't we start with you, sir, Mr. Scrabbles?
Okay. So what I like between big AAA titles on the Switch is playing mournful indie games
Yeah.
that I've missed. So like Hollow Knight and Night in the Woods were my big ones last year.
Yep.
I've been playing Bury Me My Love, which is
The hell is that?
It's a game about being a Syrian refugee texting their lover whilst they try and escape Syria. And let me tell you, it's pretty mournful. It's really interesting. It's kind of it's a game told through text messages. I haven't gotten that far through it, but there's elements of sort of choosing dialogue, and that affects the narrative. You're helping make decisions for the person you're talking to through your texts. I haven't like I say, I'm not that far through it, but it's definitely sad.
This reminds me of Florence. It also looks like
little
it's
bit.
going to destroy me.
Yeah, it looks, graphic novel style if you're
Yeah.
not watching this.
Yeah, it's really pretty as well. And there's a really nice thing where the phone's in the middle of the screen, and whenever you get sent a picture message, that becomes the background behind the phone. So you've got this sense of progression through as they go on their travels.
great.
It's really cool.
Awesome.
Also, coming out tomorrow is a game called Stillness of the Wind. And let me tell you guys, pretty mournful stuff.
What are you doing?
I don't know, but it's about. So basically, the best way I can describe it so far is it's at the start of every Harvest Moon game, you take over the farm from a dead grandparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is playing the dying grandparent.
No!
on the farm.
Oh my god.
Joe, why are you playing these games?
So you play as this lovely old lady
And
tending her farm.
her sick goats and hens.
Are you guys depressed in the UK or something?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
But it's really properly beautiful, but it's just like about slowly going about your daily chores on this farm. And then occasionally you get messages from the city where apparently everything's going really wrong and all Nana's relatives are having terrible times.
Oh, Nana.
And she gets sad next to her grave sometimes, all that good stuff.
Well, thanks for ruining my mood.
But it's really interesting, and it's really slow. The only problem with it is it uses a cursor, which I think is the worst ever decision.
Okay. Yeah.
And it doesn't use a touchscreen for some reason. That's how you move around and do stuff.
Cool
But
art
it's-
style, though.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. Runs nicely as well. And
So it's a slow cursor-based game about a dying woman.
yeah, basically.
All right.
That's what the Switch is for. I'm telling you. That's
Hit up that
the
eShop.
big stuff. Yeah, it's good, man.
Well, thank you for sharing your misery with
It
us.
looks really cool. It actually looks really
Zach,
special.
can you save this discussion? Can you play something happy?
Yeah. So in addition to Wargroove, which I already spoke a little bit about, by the way, just to reiterate, loving that game, very good. I'm going to stick with that.
You will like Fire Emblem if you like this game. Just to warn you.
Once again, you know that I'm not allowed to talk about Fire Emblem on the show. I don't know why you keep putting me in this position.
I feel like it's time to bring you back in.
Remains to be seen. No,
at least
I actually
3 horses that you.
There
can
was
ride.
God damn it. There was a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that I was interested in playing Tales of Vesperia Deluxe Edition because I'm an old school JRPG fan and I don't get an opportunity to play very much of those. And a super cool fan named Noah reached out to me and sent me a copy of Tales of Vesperia. And I've been playing through that. I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in, but it is great. It is a capital J JRPG, very old school in the sense of like, you're running around a set path, you're talking to NPCs, you're doing side quests. The battle system is really unique. It's so you control a battle system on a 2D plane, and you can move backwards and forwards, and you can attack in real time. You know, it's not like a turn-based battle system. It's actually really interesting. The characters are pretty fun. I'm playing with a Japanese voiceover because the American voiceovers was not super great, so I restarted it. But yeah, I'm really loving it. It's really colorful, and it's got these mystic artes. No, it's a really cool game.
So who do you talk? Since none of us have played this, who do you meet with and talk about this game? Do you go out for like green tea with Jared Petty and Andrew Goldfarb at night? And
no,
greetings!
I mean that's kind of the thing about a JRPG like this is like they're out there.
Yeah.
The JRPG fans, you just got to find them. I know Casey is also Casey's also wanting to play this game, and so maybe she and I will swap some road stories.
But you're choosing to play this over Persona 5.
Look, man.
Okay,
don't hassle me, okay?
Look,
I'm this close to the end of Persona 5. I'm saving it.
Okay.
So
I've
got about 10 hours left in Persona 5.
We will be right here when Persona 5 gets announced for the Nintendo Switch, and then we'll talk your ear off for an hour about
even
the
if
greatness.
Persona 5 does get announced for the Switch. I doubt that I would play through another 100 hours of it. I love the game. I'm very close to the end, but the idea of playing through it again is very daunting.
You'll buy it though.
Probably because I'm an idiot. Yeah,
Just to have that picture on that $60 photo on.
that's right. I'll just get that cat out there.
That square.
Yeah. Ooh.
So why don't I go next, and then we'll go to Brian. I'm playing Defense Grid 2. So this is a Switch port of a game that came out in 2014. Defense Grid is basically a tower defense game where you can adjust the camera, you can zoom in, get close to the action, so it's a polygonal playing field, and you have these predetermined spots where you can put different weapons. Like, for example, you have something like a flamethrower that can attack groups of enemies. You've got gun turrets, you have like missiles and stuff, and you need to figure out how to cope with the hordes of incoming enemies, and then upgrade your systems and spend the money, the points you make basically in the game to fortify your defenses.
Dan Stapleton sort of
Loves it.
but he also inexplicably sent me a code for this the other day, and I couldn't figure out why Dan Stapleton, of all people, would send me a code for a tower defense game.
So Dan reviewed it and gave it, I believe, an 8 when it came out on Steam. He really likes this game.
Okay.
So he probably saw it come out in Switch and thought, why not introduce more players to it? It's very enjoyable. It runs all right. It like I wish these games that came out 5 years ago would run at 60 and look a little better with some better lighting. So it looks a little dated, but if you enjoy tower defense, I can recommend this one's a good game. And then I'm playing a ton of Wargroove, loving that game. Swords and Soldiers, which is a nice side-scrolling kind of also tower defense strategy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you playing that too?
A little bit. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good game as well. Tangle Deep, which is I think you guys talked a little bit about last week. Is that right?
I don't remember. I don't think so. Yeah.
So kind of a classic, like think of Mystery Dungeon, like an RPG where you explore these worlds. They're procedurally generated. You try to get loot. Very, very cute, really big game. Closest probably to something like Dragon Quest or Mystery Dungeon. And then Unruly Heroes, which is the not quite Rayman Legends, but looks absolutely gorgeous on Switch. 4-player Rayman-like game. Playing a ton of that.
Are you playing that single player, or are you playing that with a group?
So I was playing that with a group, but now I'm going to continue in single player.
And you're enjoying it in single player?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's fun enough for sure. I mean, I also haven't played it in multiplayer, so I don't know.
Yeah, see, I've only played it in multiplayer, and I enjoyed playing it in multiplayer, but thought, I wonder how this translates to a single player experience. So
yeah, it's a little bit like Lost Vikings, where you have to leverage the unique abilities of the characters and switch.
you have to switch out
So
often.
a little
Yeah,
bit like
that's
that,
cool.
Yeah. Very, very pretty game.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? What you got?
I am playing a game called Origami Shadows Edition, which is a third-person stealthy ninja game that I think has a lot of DNA of, I'd say, like very old school Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell, a little bit of Metal Gear.
Cool.
Metal Gear. It's really awesome. It's got this kind of reverse Boktai situation where you have to stay in the darkness to gain power, and stepping into the light weakens you and also makes you more visible to enemies.
Does it use the Switch's sun sensor?
It does not, because that's not a thing.
That's what Boktai did.
I know. That was great.
Huh?
I remember people trying to fake that. And it's really cool. It's sort of about stealth kills and sneaking around. It's got this snappy teleportation device that's basically like when you're playing a PSVR game and you want to like teleport to Zoom. It's got that, but you can do it off of walls and ceilings.
This looks
floors,
cool.
Like that. It's really awesome. I had no idea this was coming out, and it's sort of just like snuck up, unintended. But yeah, check this out if you're looking for something stealthy. I think it's a little less like sort of action crazy than something like Mark of the Ninja. But I really dig it. And there isn't really a lot of stuff like it on Switch.
Very nice.
Neat.
Yeah, I'm also playing Zelda 2 for the NES.
I've heard of that game.
That's
For some odd reason, so I have hundreds of games at my fingertips. And
Where does it
I'm going
rank
with that
in your list of favorite Zelda games? Because it is the odd game out for a lot of people.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if I can do that.
But do you love it?
I love
you
it.
like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it. There we
Okay.
go.
Dan loves it.
It's,
Dan
Our
loves
producer
it.
likes it.
It's definitely unnecessarily obtuse. I think that like you kind of have to play this game with a guide. In 2019, especially if you don't have a bunch of friends like on the playground telling you where to go. But this is this is the sort of weird like black sheep of the original Zelda games, definitely of the first 3 or 4 of them. It's just bizarre. It alternates between a top-down sort of RPG style game where you have random encounters with enemies to a side scroller action platformer. It's brutal, it's difficult, it's obtuse and weird, but I really like it. If you play this game now in 2019, play it like an RPG, grind a lot at the beginning, level up a lot, upgrade your stats, which is a weird thing to say in a Zelda game. Look up maps online. The dungeons in this game are really smart and really cool. And I think they're some of the smartest sort of like layouts of dungeons of any Zelda game.
There's something I find really haunting about the art style, and I don't know what it is. He seems so small.
He is, and it's a really sad world. Like half the people are out to kill you, and the other half are just morose and don't say much, and everyone is vague. Like everyone's like, go to the desert if you don't want to die, and you're like, all right, thanks. Well, I mean, check out Zelda 2 for the NES.
It is. I mean, it is a good, really good game to catch up on now.
Yeah.
After you've seen the Zelda franchise evolve into this direction where basically Link to the Past kind of took back the original games, and Nintendo has run with that formula until Breath of the Wild. This was the odd game out in that it is the only role-playing game in this series of action-adventure games and crossbow training.
And I'll add, the only reason I put this in here is because, like I said, this is the black sheep of the Zelda franchise. People don't like it. If you played it when you were a kid and you hated it, give it another shot. It's awesome on Switch. You can use save states and sort of cheap your way through the game. Give this one a second chance.
Nice.
Because it's cool.
Well, folks, I'm really happy you're here because when I open the eShop and I see the amount of new games that have popped up, including 50 billion new puzzle games, is good to get some recommendations from you folks on what to play next. For people listening to the show or watching, if you've discovered a game that we haven't covered on this show that you really, really like and think other Nintendo Switch fans should take a look at, leave us a comment, anywhere on YouTube or IGN, and we'll get right on that for a future show. So we are going to now jump into question block. We've got a couple of minutes left, so 2 questions from our fans. This time they come from nvc@ign.com, the old-fashioned email address you can use to contact us and drop us a line. I think everything's said better with a British accent, so why don't we have Joe read the first question?
This is from Joey Monda, which sounds like a name I would use.
There you go.
It's like my cool film star name. I don't know what. He's from Nashville. 2020 may be the next year for next-gen consoles to be released. With a PS5 and new Xbox coming out, how do you think Nintendo will compete? Also, how do you feel about the thought of Nintendo releasing a next-gen console that focuses less on portability and creativity and is more similar to Xbox and PlayStation that focuses on other capabilities?
What do you guys think?
Well, the Switch is really struggling right now, so they better throw that whole system out. I think they're good for a while. I think that what they're doing right now is so disruptive that they don't really need to compete. They can put out some new Joy-Cons, maybe do that slim redesign people are talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that they need to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting pretty right now with. It is very unlikely that Sony will announce another Vita or a PSP, right? They will likely announce the PlayStation 5 early next year. That's if it follows their past plans. They're obviously not going to be at E3, and that may be one of the reasons why they're winding down the PS4. Which means Nintendo is different. Like the Switch is just different, and so I think they will compete by iterating on their hardware. The iPhone really created this system where people, for some odd reason, feel like they need to upgrade their device, even though it's so freaking expensive, every couple of years. And I think, you've seen this with the Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro. I think Nintendo is going to follow right in line. We've heard rumors about a smaller, simpler Switch without Joy-Con, where the controllers are actually attached. That's a portable unit. We've heard rumors about a more powerful unit. I think when the next-gen consoles come out, I think Nintendo will have a more powerful Switch with the same form factor.
I love that you gave credit to the iPhone for doing that. I've been buying Game Boys like every 2 years.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah.
I liked new 3DS when that came out. I'd be totally happy to have a new Switch. That wouldn't bother me. I do think Mario Kart could be the thing they use to compete with that.
Yeah,
and honestly, their biggest problem now isn't really Sony. It's xCloud. Like if xCloud became something people could use easily without too much hassle, that's the thing that could cause trouble.
There's no way they'll go back to a general set-top box.
I don't think so either.
I feel like.
No, and they also since the Wii generation, they've just decided that they don't need to be competitive in terms of graphics. So I don't think we'll ever see a set-top box that's a super 4K HD setup.
I think they spent the last 2 years marketing this system and selling the system to people like us, and now it's time to go for kids and get that second and third Switch in the household. Get that like $199 price point with a bundled game. Like that's how you compete.
Or in Pear's case, that sixth or seventh Switch.
Yeah, exactly. And they all already have 20 or 30 Joy-Cons each.
We only have 4. I am not Joy-Con complete. I'll have you know. I do not yet have the Famicom NES controllers, the
that must
Famicom
be really
version.
difficult for you.
No, I got them on eBay. One guy tried to cheat me.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was going to send me just the decals for $100. I'm like, no, I do not want decals for $100. Thank you very much. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I do not understand English.
Back alley Joy-Con
That's very convenient. Thank you, sir. But I'm not. I will soon be Joy-Con complete, but I will definitely buy whatever the next Switch is, and probably have to buy 4 of them if the kids are not already in college.
What if the next Switch uses new Joy-Cons? You got this mountain.
I will probably quit and move into the mountains.
Yeah.
That seems like the right move.
So quickly for our last question, this comes from Stuart Jackson, who also emailed us. You can do 2 at nvc@ign.com. He says, thanks for giving me the nudge I needed to finally play the Ocarina of Time.
You're welcome.
His email was a little long, so I abridged it. He said he played other Zelda games like Link to the Past, Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, which he didn't like, and others, but he held out on going back to Ocarina of Time, and we talked about it so much in our wonderful anniversary episode that he did play it. He says, I heard the words from the original review, the Citizen Kane of games. How could I resist? I bought a copy for the 3DS. I was initially frustrated being unable to jump and not knowing what was going on or where to go. I, however, did eventually get into the rhythm of the game and puzzles. And now I'm very happy to say I've finally played it through, and it is indeed a very, very good game.
That rules.
Question, what games have you been on the fence on? Or like looking for that gentle push to finally give it a go? Yeah, putting you on the spot. I mean, for me, honestly, like I've started to play Dark Souls in the past and always stopped. No, I've always stopped.
That's what I was going to say.
That's not true. I had it first. And so I kind of, I hear people talk about it. Obviously, very popular game with our friends in the UK, present and former. UK office, that is. I don't know about the whole nation, the whole conglomerate of nations. But I do want to play that eventually.
I think the one, well, are we talking about ones that we are on the fence with or ones that we are going to
Well,
that we
No, I
have
think
played.
ones that you were on the fence with,
Yeah,
games that you've needed a nudge to get into.
I think Fire Emblem was my one
Okay.
until Fire Emblem Awakening, which was just the best. And now I'm obsessed with constant Fire Emblem games.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
It's daunting to get in.
Yeah, but something about Awakening just really worked in getting me in. And then Three Houses, I absolutely cannot wait for.
Yeah. Same with
He
Zach.
looks-
Yeah.
he looks-
What about you, Brian? What do you need a nudge on or have needed a nudge on?
God, I don't know, because there's a bunch that people tell me that I have to play, and then I play like 20 minutes or like an hour, and I'm like, I'm not into it. Like the Mass Effect games.
Okay.
I'm just cannot connect with those games.
Oh, you really ought to
weird.
play those though.
I like
Do I?
Yeah,
though?
those are very good. Yeah,
know about that.
Not the last one, but the original trilogy for sure. Yeah.
I feel, and you're not a Fire Emblem guy either. Maybe it's time for that.
I played. There was one we were all talking about at NVC
Awakening.
years ago. Was that Awakening?
Yeah, yeah.
God, let's not.
Yeah.
Let's just not get into it.
There's that one. No, I think I'm okay. I play so much right now, so
Fine.
that I don't really have FOMO on
give up on
any
you.
video games.
What about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say Dark Souls. It
Oh,
took me-
wow.
yeah.
How original.
It took me a really long time to get into Dark Souls, which is silly because Dark Souls is just difficult Zelda.
Yep.
Like when you get down to it, like the first Dark Souls especially is very, very Zelda reminiscent. 3 and Bloodborne, not so much. 2, I've not played a ton of, but yeah, I love Dark Souls, but it took me a very long time of hearing about the crushing difficulty to finally cave and be like, well, I'll give this a shot. So.
Well, I mean, there's no more excuse for us. Dark Souls is now on the Nintendo Switch, and we can play it on the go. So maybe we should
absolutely.
get together and just do a like little, like maybe you can bring your RPG
Are you asking me on
fans
a
too.
Are you asking me on a Dark Souls date?
Absolutely.
Date Souls.
And you listening to this show,
Series.
you listening to this show or watching this show also have absolutely no excuses left. If you haven't checked out some of our other shows on IGN, go subscribe to GameScoop on iTunes. Check out Unfiltered, a really good interview series that Ryan McCaffrey runs every month. And we also partnered with the folks making Humans Make Games, really cool weekly podcasts with interviews with indie developers. Check all that stuff out. In the meantime, where can people find you, Joe Scrabbles, if they're interested in your musing about really, really depressing games?
IGN UK podcast.
Okay.
We say naughty words.
There you
and
go.
We talk about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And occasionally beer.
Don't tell Dad.
Oh, no.
And then Brian.
You can find me on Twitter at Agent Bizzle. I was also on Beyond this week with Joe. I said most of the naughty words, and Joe did not. So that's
Excellent.
I had a power shift there.
Zach Ryan, what are you working on? Anything good?
I'm at Zacharias D on Twitter, and I'm here just about every week on NVC and in our new Let's Play series, Date Souls.
Excellent. And I'm Per Schneider, and you can find me at Per IGN wherever Per IGNs are. See you next week when you can.
Get the thing.
Thing. You say that at the end.
Get it.
We do like
Get
that.
that.